The Farmer's Daughter 1. A Village Heartbeat. Nsambo was a quiet village nestled between the broad hills and cocoa farms of southwestern Nigeria. The mornings began with roosters crowing through the orange dawn, the rhythmic pounding of yam on mortar by the women, and the distant hum of the market traders setting up their stalls under the huge Iroko trees. I have lived there all my life. I have seen seasons change, people grow, and traditions pass like the river's slow but steady flow. Today, let me tell you about a story I witnessed, one about love for the land, courage, and the strength of a daughter in a place where roots run deep. 2. Nkem, the Farmer's Daughter. Nkem was the only child of Mr. Chaik, a respected farmer who tilled the land their family had tended for more than 3 generations. Her skin, the color of rich earth, her eyes bright as the morning sun. She had hands used to the soil and a heart tethered to the farm more than any city-born soul could understand. Mr. Chaik's farm was no ordinary patch of earth. It was a patchwork quilt of cassava, yams, cocoa yams, and a winding cocoa grove that kept the village alive. Nkem had spent childhood jumping over mud puddles, learning to weed and harvest alongside her father, her laughter ringing across their fields. That year, the harvest looked promising. "If the rains hold, we eat well come December," her father said as he handed her a basket of ripe oranges. Rumors from the town. But then came the whispers. Strange men from the town, dressed in shiny suits and thick glasses, had been seen meeting near the village council house. They talked about developments, projects, and buyouts, words that sounded foreign and dangerous to us. It wasn't long before a letter arrived, sealed with the stamp of the local government chairman, Mr. Adewale. It stated the land was wanted for a new road and commercial development. Mr. Chaik's farm, along with many others, was marked for demolition. The news turned the village upside down. We gathered under the baobab tree in the center, voices raised and angry. Nkem's eyes did not waver that day, though. She stepped forward, voice calm but carrying the weight of many generations. "This land is our blood and heart. We will not give it up without a fight." The gathering storm. We had heard tales of similar land grabs, how families lost everything to thin papers and crooked officials. But Nkem was different. She was like fire wrapped in humility. She visited every household, spoke to elders, traders, and women's groups. She reminded us all of our strength, that together the village could stand as one. One evening, she sat with her father at the edge of their fire pit, the flames casting dancing shadows on their worried faces. "Nkem, father, if the government wants us to move, we can't just scream and shout. We need proof. We need to fight with law and with hearts united." "Mr. Chaik, you have grown wise, my daughter. But how will you face men with power and money when all we have is soil beneath our nails?" "Nkem, then we must summon the strength of the ancestors and gather every voice they cannot ignore." Love in the midst of trouble. Among those who stood with Nkem was Emeka, the village teacher's son. He was quiet but steady, a man who knew his books but never forgot the smell of the earth. His love for Nkem was clear to all, but Nkem was cautious. The fight ahead was bigger than either of them. Would meet under the mango tree after long days, speaking softly about plans, hope, and the future. Emeka believed in the power of unity and education as much as Nkem believed in the land and tradition. "Emeka, Nkem, the road you want to guard is not just for cars, it is for our children's future too. We must find a way to build, but retain our roots." "Nkem, and if they take our roots away? What will be left to hold us?" "Emeka, we hold each other. That is more powerful than any paper they bring." Love in the midst of trouble. Among those who stood with Nkem was Emeka, the village teacher's son. He was quiet but steady, a man who knew his books but never forgot the smell of the earth. His love for Nkem was clear to all, but Nkem was cautious. The fight ahead was bigger than either of them. Would meet under the mango tree after long days, speaking softly about plans, hope, and the future. Emeka believed in the power of unity and education as much as Nkem believed in the land and tradition. "Emeka, Nkem, the road you want to guard is not just for cars, it is for our children's future too. We must find a way to build, but retain our roots. Nkem, and if they take our roots away, what will be left to hold us? Emeka, we hold each other. That is more powerful than any paper they bring. The turning point. With Emeka's help, Nkem connected with a Lagos-based lawyer who specialized in land rights. The process was exhausting, filled with meetings, paperwork, and the slow turning of justice that felt as ancient as the village itself. News came slowly, but when the court granted a temporary injunction to halt demolition, the village breathed relief for the first time in weeks. One evening, as the village gathered to give thanks, Emeka found Nkem by the stream. The moonlight painted her face with silver. Emeka, Nkem, you have moved mountains. But have you thought what happens after this fight? Nkem, I want to see our children farm this land, drink from clear streams, and sing our songs. But I want you with me on that journey, Emeka. Emeka, I will follow you to the ends of the earth. New dawn for Nzambo. Months passed. The government finally withdrew the proposal for the commercial road through our village, agreeing to build elsewhere. The victory was not just about the land, but about respect, unity, and the fight of a daughter who refused to be invisible. Nkem and Emeka married during the Yam festival, under the singing palm fronds and songs of the griots. The village rejoiced, not only for their union but for the hope it symbolized. There is a saying in our land, when the roots of a tree grow deep, no wind can uproot it. Nkem's story is my story. It is the story of Nzambo, of the land, the people, and the enduring love that binds us all. Reflections. Years later, I sometimes sit by the fire and recall that time with a warm heart. The strength of one young woman changed the fate of a village. The power of love and community overcame greed and haste. So when the rains pour and the cocoa trees blossom, think of Nkem, Emeka, and the village that stood tall, and remember, dignity is the richest harvest of all.